Hello, everyone, and welcome to our new episode of the First Friday Showcase. Last episode, we spoke about specific webinar events that were going on throughout the month and had a discussion on market research. Basically, we talked about how to utilize your competitors' success or lack of success to advance your business and increase sales. So during this episode, we're going to talk about our new webinars going on in November, as well as a discussion on the rebranding of Facebook to Meta and what this means as a user of the platform and as a small business owner. So you might notice we have a new member here. It's Julian Boykins, and he is a graduate assistant at the SBDC, and I'll have him, introduce himself a little bit. Julian.
How you doing, guys? My name's Julian, as Zach said. This is my first year at Kutztown University. I got my undergrad from Seton Hill University in entrepreneurship and marketing. So I got a little bit of background in the business field and just can't wait to get started and talk about the rebranding of Meta.
All right, so you can go ahead and we're going to kind of switch up the order we do things here a little bit. We're going to start off with the consultant corner. So I'll have Julian talk about that for a little bit.
So our consultant for October was Will Hooten. He was a business consultant at Penn State SBDC. He worked as an analyst at Bloomberg on their earnings estimate team, and he is an International Society of Business Appraisers, a business certified appraiser.
Yep, and the consultant corner goes out the 21st of every month. That's one of our 3 newsletters that we send out. So if you want to kind of get the full scoop on those consultants that are featured, be sure to sign up for those. And so the webinar events, this is just 2 of the events we have coming up in November. 2022, the year you absolutely kill it in marketing. That's November 9th. It's coming up soon at 10 a.m. And it will be a interactive forum. So it will be a webinar with multiple, kind of a open discussion type thing. And it'll be hosted by Pearl Jade Marketing. And another event we have coming up is Business Roundtable. This has been a reoccurring event that we have. So this one's going to be Discover SEO Analysis and How Your Company Can Benefit. And that's going to be November 15th at 11 a.m. presented by Cassandra Fly, who is a management consultant from the University of Pittsburgh SBDC. And those webinar events and many more can be found at paecenterdirect.com. So now we're going to kind of go into this topic that we've discussed briefly earlier, which is rebranding of Facebook, as I'm sure some of you have probably heard about briefly. What do you know about it, Julian?
So Facebook is going to be taking on a new name. It's called Meta. And I think this is going to do a lot of good things for small businesses because they're really going to focus on virtual reality and augmented reality specifically when marketing your business. And this allows for, we're in a day of Zoom right now. So this allows for a lot of businesses to actually be physically there without literally being physically there. So I think this will give a lot of advancements for businesses and allow for a lot of expansion into other areas.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how it shifts the platform. And one of my concerns is that I'm not sure, is Facebook going to stay there and they're going to have Meta as a separate thing, or is it going to be implemented into that?
I'm not exactly sure, but I think that's something that's definitely going to happen over time. It's not going to happen right away. They're still going to, you have the older generation that's still going to know Facebook. So for Facebook to just completely disappear right away, I think it's going to happen over time. So people can get used to the new name, the new branding, and all that kind of stuff.
Right. And I think it's interesting to think about because I've seen a lot of younger people be kind of hesitant to be on Facebook. Mm-hmm. A lot of teenagers nowadays, and even, some of our people our age are kind of leaving Facebook and they don't want to be a part of it anymore because it's kind of changed direction from when it first started,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how the platform changes with this change, because the shift is clearly going towards the virtual reality and creating this whole different world.
Mhm.
So as a small business owner, if you use Facebook as your main platform, you're going to have to kind of stay up to date and with the times. And a lot of times we see actually when platforms change like this is people just leave it behind and don't bother with it because they have to
Mhm.
learn it again.
Right, and they're definitely keeping up with the times because before COVID, people would meet in groups, face to face, all that kind of stuff, and then COVID, and now everybody's meeting on Zoom, and everybody still kind of wants to have that personal, like experience face to face. So this kind of allows for that to still happen and like progress even with COVID.
Yeah, and not even sure COVID is a good example, but I'd say not even like without that even happening, I think this would still be something that people are looking to shift to.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Because
But
people do business like all over the world, like across the country. Like sometimes you
yeah,
can't. It makes it more convenient for people to meet virtually
hmm,
and like be able to like walk through places and see things like right there without being there.
yeah, it adds a whole nother level to it because if you would think back in the day, a business meeting with internationally would just be a phone in the middle
Mhm.
and you're not there, but you're like dialed in. Nowadays, you're there, through Zoom or whatever virtually. And then this is like the next step up where, you got your headset on and you're sitting at the table,
Mhm.
talking about whatever. So, but like I was saying, it kind of, if you're a small business owner and you see this, would you think you would start looking toward, like, let's say you're only on Facebook
Mhm.
and you have all your followers, you post your hours, your events, you maybe do ads a little bit. Do you think now is probably a good time to like start looking at Twitter or Instagram or getting a website set up? Like, do you think it's probably a good idea to start branching out and looking at other options?
Yeah, I think as a small business owner, you should definitely have multiple um, platforms. You should definitely be on more than just like Facebook or more than just like Twitter. You
Mhm.
definitely need a website, in my opinion. I just think it reaches more people if you're on different platforms. So like, Facebook tends to be like older generation. You can reach them. Website, people that, sit at a desk, have a desktop, they can get on websites and browse. I just think you're able to reach more people if you're on different platforms.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that. So yeah, not really too much to talk about with this until we see more information on it. But I just kind of wanted to touch on the topic and bring it to light because it's something to start thinking about. If your business, this is what happens when you rely on, like, you have no control over what this platform does. It could shut down tomorrow, and if you're relying on that for advertising and driving sales, then you should be worried. So
Mhm.
I think that's important because back before technology, you never had to worry about any of that because your advertising and such was all physical. But
Right.
now in this digital world, like I said, anything can happen.
Oh yeah.
So,
I think this is like Facebook is starting that change because like
mhm.
I mean we've been in this past age for a while and now Facebook is coming up with this new idea and people kind of iffy about it, but like once it gets going and rolling, I think it's going to be a big thing for small businesses, especially.
And also Facebook owns Instagram. They have
So you'll
WhatsApp.
probably, you'll
Yeah.
definitely start seeing that with Instagram and following yours too.
Well, look at it already. I mean, speaking on the augmented reality, those like face filters and stuff, that's all augmented reality.
Hmm.
So that's just like no one really realizes that, but that's like the start of the shift to it because it's kind of
Yeah, it's kind
Yeah,
of subtle, but like now Facebook is making that real big
that's
shift. That's
true.
really is really known. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's about subtle changes to get people used to it. It's
Mhm.
almost like marketing in a way where you don't want to give it away that you're advertising to somebody, but really, you are.
Mhm.
So if you have anything else to add, I think that's all I can really talk about at the moment on this.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with this. I mean, I've personally experienced. I've done virtual reality one time. I played a little game on a headset, and it's really interesting how it works and like how real it almost feels. So like I'm
Yeah.
excited to see how this like advances businesses.
I've never used VR, unless you count those like one of those games back in the day. It was
Hmm.
like 2D. It was like when it
Hmm.
first started to be a thing. So definitely will be
Yeah,
interesting. Maybe everyone will have a little like headset in their house, a little station.
yeah, and I think maybe in the years to come, this might be a long time down the road, but there might not be headsets anymore. It might
That's
just be
true.
like a room that you're sitting in with a bunch of panels around you or something.
Or just glasses. Remember the Google Glass that tried to come out?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. All right. So just want to thank anyone who is listening and viewing our podcast, the First Friday Showcase. That wraps it up for this episode. Our next episode will be December 3rd. So stay tuned for that. It's going to feature, new webinar events again, and we're either going to have another topic of discussion, Julian and myself, or we will feature a KUSBDC consultant and find a topic to go over. So if you want to view all of our training events, like I said before, the website is pasbdc.ecenterdirect.com. And, that's all for now. Thanks for joining Julian and I, and we'll see you next time.